Ambassador Sofer, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much indeed, Joyce, and of course, Rebecca, for your opening remarks. And I really must say that it's an honor, a privilege to be invited to speak here at the final event of the Israel-Indonesia Futures program. And thank you for doing so. Now, I won't hold you for very long in my words, but I would like to say that previous speakers at this event I noticed and heard rightly and certainly correctly were looking at the issue of the Futures program from an obvious point of view of economic issues, technological issues, innovation, entrepreneurial skills, etc. But given everything that's going on now, and given my own personal background, I would like to try and look at it from a slightly different point of view, from more an international angle, from perhaps a diplomatic angle, and I hope you'll bear with me as I wade into the issue. Because, of course, this is indeed an extremely sad time for the Middle East, with an enormous amount of suffering going on. And while this is neither the time nor the place to enter into all the details and the viewpoints, the fake news or the suffering, as someone who's been intimately involved in diplomacy in the region for over 4 decades, I believe strongly and I remain convinced that there is still a critical mass on both sides of the divide here who would like nothing more than a future devoid of conflict. But sadly, it is also clear that we cannot achieve this on our own, and that we need the assistance of responsible actors in the international arena. And these actually do exist: the United States, the EU, the United Nations, the Arab world, some more efficient, some very much less so, but they are there. And I think it's against this backdrop that we are meeting today, and this brings me to the issue of the question of Indonesia.
Indonesia dengan nomor penerbangan QB1. Can I please ask from the participants to mute their microphones? Thank you so much.
Terima kasih. Your attention, please. This is the final.
We seem to be at the airport somewhere, which is nice. But it is against, as I repeat, it's against this backdrop that we are meeting today. And this brings me to the question or the issue of Indonesia and the Futures program. Now, I've been dealing with Asia including perhaps even especially Indonesia, for over 20 years. And I continue to feel, and I say this with all openness, candidness, and frankness, that sometimes Indonesia is unaware of its potential influence in not only this region, but around the world, as a forward-looking, modern, moderate, democratic society with the world's largest Muslim population. And as you said, Rebecca, I do believe also that the lack of formal relations between India and Israel is an anomaly arising out of political considerations, and that sooner or later this anomaly will be rectified and both our societies will benefit greatly from that. Because at the end of the day, international relationships are not only, and at least should not be, predicated only on geostrategic interests, but I believe perhaps principally they should be predicated on what is beneficial to the welfare of both the societies, of all societies, and that's really why countries should and must interact with each other. And yet, despite this anomaly, there is enormous respect in Israel for Indonesia, its culture, its people, and its potential. So in the interim period, in the time while we're still waiting patiently for the relationship to be solidified and institutionalized, we believe that there is still much that can and must be done outside of the political and the diplomatic arena. And this is exactly the reason why I place such stock, and I'm so supportive myself, of the Israel-Indonesia Futures program. Because in essence, at the end of the day, it fills a huge void and steps into an arena where it is so needed, touching all the basic buttons and much needed positions, which I referred to earlier. And we can look at 3 of them briefly. First, of course, is the people-to-people level. They've been spoken about, and I've spoken about it too. But the cutting through the loud and forceful background noise, the program uses mutual interests to expose each other, Israelis and Indonesians, to the other, to our respective cultures, to our respective societies, our trials and tribulations, what makes us move, what makes us tick, how do the movers and shakers actually function within their own societies. These are the issues that face us day in and day out in Israel. They face you day in and day out in Indonesia. And this program, being the only one of its kind in Israel, exposes both of our sides to that. I think on the wider level, the program, nothing to do really with bilateral ties, develops new technologies, new innovations, new entrepreneurial skills, which will not only benefit us both, but can and will be utilized in societies surrounding us in our respective regions, both in Asia, Southeast Asia, or wider afield, and in the Middle East. And of course, thirdly, on the country-to-country level. The program is living proof that we can all benefit from the interaction between us, and that the sound infrastructure and the framework can be laid and is being laid. So when the new era, the bilateral, the regional, and the multilateral era sets in, and we are able to be more open and close to each other physically, not just on Zoom, we will have the framework and the ground, the structure will be there, and this is part and parcel, the main part and parcel, I believe, of the entire program. Now, I'm convinced that times will change for the better. I can promise you that, actually. I'm too long in the tooth for it not to be happening. Been ups and downs, and we're right now in a real down, but things will change for the better. But until it does so, this program provides exactly the sort of activity that is so desperately needed in the interim period. And that is the reason why I urge all of you here to support the program, all of those not involved in the program, to support in any way you can, including financially. And it is also the reason that I am proud indeed to be associated with it. So I want to thank you really again, Rebecca, Joyce, and all of you here for being here this afternoon or this evening, or even this morning, those west of us, and to look at this program as part and parcel of a much wider and system of interaction between Israel and Indonesia, part of a much wider framework and structure that's being laid down now, so that when the time comes, we will all be ready and be in place to move to the second story of the building, because the first story will already have been built. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Thank you so much to Ambassador Sofer for your kind words